All right, let's dive right into one of the most powerful and maybe most misunderstood concepts out there, the shadow self. It's that part of you that's kind of running the show from behind the scenes. And honestly, understanding it can totally change the game for how you see yourself and everything else.
So let me just start by asking you this. Is the reality you're experiencing right now really what's happening? Is it pure, unfiltered? Or is there something kind of standing in the way? For pretty much all of us, the answer is a big, surprising yes.
And this is the core idea we're going to work with today. The best way to think about your shadow self is like it's a pair of tinted sunglasses. It's this piece of glass that sits right between your pure awareness, you could call it your spirit, your gut feeling, and your logical thinking mind. And it colors absolutely everything.
So what does this tinting actually feel like? Well, it can make your own intuition feel super distant, almost foggy. You know that feeling? It muffles your gut feelings, which makes you second-guess yourself all the time. And it totally confuses your mind, which then starts thinking the shadow's fearful little whispers are actually good advice.
Okay, so what is the shadow really? Where did this idea even come from? Well, for that, we have to thank the legendary psychiatrist Carl Jung. He's the one who first really brought this whole concept into the light. So the bottom line is this. The shadow is basically the bag we stuff everything we've disowned about ourselves into. It's where we hide all the desires, the fears, the personality traits that we, or our family or society, told us were bad or unacceptable. It's not necessarily evil, it's just the parts of us we don't want to look at.
The shadow starts to form when we're taught that certain parts of us are wrong, like our anger, our selfishness, or even our ambition. But get this, and this is the wild part. It also holds our repressed positive stuff, like creativity or strength, that we were too scared to own. And when we try to shove all that down, it doesn't just go away. No way. It leaks out, usually as out-of-character moments where we think, whoa, I have no idea where that came from.
Now, this is not just some abstract theory, okay? The shadow is showing up in your life constantly. The trick is just learning to spot its signature moves. So how do you see it in action? Just think about it for a second. Is there a certain kind of person that just makes your blood boil for no good reason? You just can't stand them. That feeling, that intense, almost illogical reaction, that is a massive clue. And this leads us right to the #1 way the shadow makes itself known, through projection. See, when there's a part of ourselves that we absolutely refuse to look at, our brain does this clever little trick. It throws it on to someone else. And suddenly, we see that trait glaringly in them. So that person you think is so arrogant, they might just be reflecting a powerful confidence inside you that you've been told to suppress. So here are the big red flags to look for. Those intense emotional triggers, where your reaction is like a 10 out of 10 for what was really a 2 out of 10 problem. Or seeing the same negative patterns pop up in your life over and over. And of course, making those really harsh, sweeping judgments about other people. All of these are basically little messages from your unconscious, trying to get your attention.
Okay, so what in the world do we do about it? The first impulse is to fight it, right? To get rid of this dark side. But that's not the goal. The goal is integration. This is what people call shadow work, and it's really just the process of making the unconscious conscious. This whole journey really has 3 main stages. First, you just have to recognize it. Start spotting those projections and triggers as they happen in real time. Second, and this is by far the hardest part, is acceptance. It's being able to look at that trait and say, okay, this is part of me too, without beating yourself up. And finally, you start a dialogue with it. You ask it questions like, what do you need? Or what are you trying to protect me from?
I know, that can sound a little abstract. So let's get really practical. Let's look at some actual tools and techniques you can start using to do this work.
One of the most powerful exercises is something called the 3-2-1 process. First, you face it. You describe the person or the trait that's triggering you in the third person. He is so arrogant. Then step 2, you talk to it in the second person. Hey, arrogance, what do you want? What are you trying to tell me? And finally, and this is where it gets interesting, you become it. You speak from its perspective in the first person. I am arrogance, and I am here to... It's an incredible way to take back all that energy you've been pushing away.
And hey, there are other great techniques too. Journaling is a classic for a reason. It gives you a safe space to explore those hidden thoughts. There's also active imagination, which is a Jungian technique where you literally visualize and have a conversation with a part of your shadow. And something as simple as body awareness, just noticing where you clench up when you triggered, because a lot of the time, the shadow lives in our bodies.
So what's the end game here? Why go through all this uncomfortable work? Because when you start to integrate these hidden pieces of yourself, something truly amazing happens. The shadow stops being this barrier that's filtering your reality, and it becomes a portal to deeper power, real authenticity, and just knowing yourself on a whole new level.
This is the transformation in action. That raw anger you've been stuffing down, when you integrate it, it becomes the fuel you need to set firm, healthy boundaries. That jealousy or envy you feel, it becomes a giant blinking signpost that points directly to your own untapped potential. And that nagging fear, it can be refined into a sharp, reliable intuition that helps guide you. See, you're not destroying the energy, you're transmuting it. And at the end of the day, this work isn't about trying to become some perfect, flawless person. That's impossible. It's about becoming whole. It's about acknowledging and accepting every single part of yourself, the good, the bad, the light, and the dark. So I'll just leave you with this one question to think about. The next time you feel that intense trigger, or you catch yourself making a really harsh judgment, instead of pushing that feeling away, just get curious for a second. Ask yourself, what is my shadow trying to show me right now? Because the answer might just be the key to unlocking a power you never knew you had.